Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Just that. There's a problem with the internet. Should I start? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskrityam Naranchayva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nasta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. So we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 20, text number 17. Lokabandhu sumegheshu Vidyutaschala sauradaha Stairyam na chakru kaminya Purusheshu gunishvi iva Lokabandhu sumegheshu Vidyutaschala sauradaha Stairyam na chakru kaminya Purusheshu gunishvi iva Lokabandhu sumedheshu Purusheshu gunish iva Lokabandhu sumegheshu Vidyutaschala sauridaha Stairyam na chakru kaminya Purusheshu gunish iva Loka of all the world Bandhusu who are the friends Megheshu among the clouds Vidyutaha the lightning Chala sauradaha fickle in their friendship Stairyam steadiness Na chakruhu did not maintain Kaminyaha lusty woman Purusheshu among men Gunishu who are virtuous Eva as Translation actually the purport is entirely from Light of the Bhagavata, so by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Though the clouds are the well-wishing friends of all living beings, the lightning, fickle in its affinities, moved from one group of clouds to another, like lusty women, unfaithful even to virtuous men. Please repeat. Though the clouds are the well-wishing friends of all living beings, the lightning, fickle in its affinities, moved from one group of clouds to another, like lusty women, unfaithful even to virtuous men. Purport. Srila Prabhupada comments, the entire purport is in quotes since it is directly from Light of the Bhagavata. During the rainy season, lightning appears in one group of clouds and then immediately in another group of clouds. This phenomena is compared to a lusty woman who does not fix her mind on one man. A cloud is compared to a qualified person because it pours rain and gives sustenance to many people. A man who is qualified similarly gives sustenance to many living creatures such as family members or many workers in business. Unfortunately, his whole life can be disturbed by a wife who divorces him. When the husband is disturbed, the whole family is ruined, the children are dispersed, or the business is closed, and everything is affected. It is therefore recommended that a woman desiring to advance in Krishna consciousness peacefully live with a husband, and that the couple not separate under any condition. The husband and wife should control sex indulgence and concentrate their minds on Krishna consciousness so their life may be successful. After all, in the material world, a man requires a woman and a woman requires a man. When they are combined, they should live peacefully in Krishna consciousness and should not be restless like the lightning flashing from one group of clouds to another. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namam Vishnupadaye Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swami Iti Namine Namam Vishnupadaye Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prashata Deshatari. Hare Krishna. Before I start, we would like to request the blessings of Maharaj on the senior devotees and all the assembled devotees. You kindly bless me that you can speak a few words on this verse. I'm actually hoping that Maharaj covered this verse yesterday because the purport has some points which are a little hard for me. But so anyway, I'll try to make a few points here. So the first, we are continuing the section describing the rainy season and the autumn in Vrindavan. And here the comparison, the first thing is of clouds. And it says, the clouds are the well-wishing friends of all living beings. Right? So we'll discuss this point first, about how clouds are the well-wishing friends of all living beings. And then we'll come to the point of lightning, and how that has been compared to a fickle-minded person who is actually lusty. So let's come to the point of clouds being the well-wishing friend of all living beings. And I was actually thinking, so Prabhupada actually in the purport makes the point that a person who is qualified similarly gives sustenance to many living creatures, such as family members or many workers in business, right? So we see that anyone who is successful, or even like you may say, like even the one who earns the livelihood, he's sustaining his family members. And then one who is a businessman, then he has a bigger domain that he may have so many people employed, and he's sustaining them, he's giving them their paychecks. So based on those material qualities, one can say that, okay, this is your domain in which you are able to sustain. But when we actually go to a translation and we say like well-wishing friend of all living beings, I was thinking that when we say all living beings, who really can be a well-wishing friend of all living beings? So if you actually consider just the point of like either head of a family or head of a business, then you have a certain domain, And also in the material world, someone may be like more opulent and like, giving charity to this organization or that organization. But who is a person who can actually be a well-wishing friend for all living beings? right? So that point actually has been explained. Even in Nectar of Devotion, when Rupa Goswami talks of the quality of Shubhada, so it's like the first two characteristics of pure devotional service is Kleshagni and Shubhada. Shubhada is all auspicious. And he makes a point that auspicious really means that one actually benefits all living entities. And when we talk of all living entities, the answer would come that only a devotee can be a real well-wisher for everyone. Because if you're not a devotee, then you're still holding on to certain positions that, okay, I belong to this community, I belong to this nation, these are my friends, these are the people I like, these are the people, I may not like so much, they are not my preference. So you are biased, and then you have attachment to a particular group of people, and you may sustain those. But it's only a devotee who can actually see the benefit of each and every living entity. So in Nectar of Devotion, when it talks of the quality of all auspiciousness, so Prabhupada actually explains that a devotee is a person that wherever he goes, he actually benefits everyone. And Prabhupada makes a point in the purport that let me think. He actually says that he says how Krishna consciousness is so attractive. Yeah, that's the point he makes. That Krishna consciousness is so attractive that wherever anyone who comes to Krishna consciousness gets attracted by the philosophy, the chanting, and so on. And in that way, anyone who is actually getting attracted to Krishna is actually getting an eternal benefit. And actually, in Bhagavad Gita, when this word Surit or well-wishing friend comes, many times even in the Bhagavad Gita, and in one of the purports, I remember Prabhupada says that Krishna is the only well-wisher friend of every living entity. So then a devotee is a well-wisher friend of all living entities because he's trying to connect each and every living entity to the best well-wisher, who is Krishna himself. So in that way, a devotee is actually a well-wisher of all living entities. Wherever he goes, he wants to actually give Krishna, give the real well-wisher to each and everyone. Okay. So that's the point about this. And then I was thinking like, okay, let's talk of the cloud, and how can we compare that to few of the qualities of a devotee. So the first point that came, as soon as we hear about cloud and rain and this comparison, the first point comes is Samsara Dava Nalli Daloka. Right? The first verse that we sing every day morning in our Samsara Dava prayers, where it says that a spiritual master, he's receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy. It's like perfect comparison to a cloud. That he's receiving the benefit from the benediction from the ocean of mercy, and he's showering it on materially afflicted people. Just like a cloud would actually shower water on people who are distressed, or who are thirsty, or who are where there's a drought, or so on. So similarly, a spiritual master is a person who takes benedictions from the ocean of mercy, which can actually be compared to Krishna himself, Krishna's ocean of mercy, and then he showers it onto the entire world who is actually suffering in this material world. So the first quality of a comparison between a cloud and a devotee is that how a cloud is actually, when it showers rain, it gives peace to people, it gives nourishment to people, it nourishes the soil, and people feel like, okay, now we have water. And similarly, a spiritual master is a person who actually extinguishes the forest fire of material existence by giving Krishna consciousness to everyone. So along these lines, I was thinking like how a devotee, like if you consider a cloud which is actually showering rain, if the cloud is just acting as an instrument to shower rain onto other people, similarly a devotee is one who is just acting as an instrument. That he's just taking the mercy from Krishna and giving that to all the other living entities, right? So just as a cloud is an instrument to shower the water which is there in all the rains, is taking all that water and then showering it to people in need, right? So So that's the first quality that came to my mind, that how spiritual a cloud can be compared to a devotee who is actually giving benediction to all living entities. The second quality that came to my mind is a cloud, like we read in Bhagavatam that when King Yudhishthir was ruling, and also like, whenever we have a saintly king described, it is said that even the rainfall is regulated in those places. So because when there's a devotee king, a Raja Rishi, a devotee king, then even the demigods see that, oh, this is such a glorious devotee, and the clouds, the demigods who are controlling the clouds, work in such a way that they give sufficient rainfall where it is actually needed. So in comparison to a devotee, I was thinking like how when there was a devotee king, the clouds are actually working under the direction of the demigod, who is pleased to shower sufficient rainfall where it is needed. Similarly, a devotee is one who is actually always working under the direction of his guru and other spiritual acharyas. And when a devotee works in that mood, that I am just acting under the supervision of others, then he actually one way discriminates, right? In the sense that we see the qualities of a Madhyam Adhikari, that he actually sees that, okay, who is a ripe fruit, and then he actually gives Krishna consciousness to them, and he sees like, okay, these are devotees, I should associate with them, this is a supreme personality of God, and let me worship them, and these are envious people, let me not right now, like, not disturb them. So that way a cloud, when it's actually controlled by the demigod who is following the will of a devotee, showers sufficient rain everywhere wherever it is required. Similarly, a devotee would actually give mercy to people who are actually looking for that mercy. He's sharing mercy based on the qualities of a Madhyamadhikari. And then if you see on the other hand, when especially in India, like whenever there's monsoon season, particularly in Mumbai, which is like considered one of the business cities, big business cities of India. In Mumbai, we see that almost every year, whenever there's monsoon, there's floods. There's floods and everything. The whole city comes to a halt, and all the the regular transportation is stopped, and all these things. So if there's indiscriminate rainfall, then it results in floods and so on, right? So, but a devotee who is working under the direction of superior, he actually sees, okay, who is favorable to Krishna consciousness, let me give it that. Okay. Then the third one, anyway, this is something just my imagination, but I was thinking in some places of the Bhagavatam, it's actually described that when there is clouds, dark rain clouds, and there is lightning, it is compared to Krishna, in the sense that Krishna having the dark complexion and the lightning compared to the yellow dress that Krishna is actually wearing. So one way I was thinking that a devotee, when he looks at clouds, if there's like pure white clouds, he thinks of Balaram. And when he actually sees the dark rain clouds with lightning, he actually thinks of Krishna. So that's anyway my thing. But again, like the point I'm making is a devotee is a person who reminds one of Krishna. And this is actually said to be a quality of an Uttam Adhikari. The third level of devotee is that just by seeing him, others are reminded about Krishna. So that's the third point. And the fourth point, which is actually very much related with the point of lightning, is a devotee, he tolerates provoking situations. Tolerates provoking situations. So, there's one quote which is there in Krishna book, which Radhan Maharaj so frequently quotes. He says, the greatness of a person is determined by how he can tolerate provoking situations. And, I really like, I've heard that few times from him, and I hold on to that. That's such a important point, that's actually defines what is our greatness. And I was thinking, how is that related to clouds? And the clouds, when they are serving as an instrument, they are taking the water from the ocean, showering wherever there is need, that's fine. But as soon as the clouds are actually working independently, there's collision of clouds, then there's lightning, there's all these things. So a devotee is a person that who just acts as an instrument. That even though there's like so many clouds and there's a tendency of clouds to collide with each other and there's lightning and so on, but the devotee holds on. He tolerates all the provoking situations. So how in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna makes a point that it's not that the desires will stop coming. He actually uses the example of the rivers to an ocean. So as we are progressing in our spiritual life, it's not that we will not be faced with those tempting situations or those desires. But a devotee is one, as we progress in our spiritual life, we'll be able to tolerate those desires. And that actually defines the greatness of a person. That actually defines how we are progressing in our spiritual journey. So those are 4 points that came to my mind. Comparison of a cloud to a quality of a devotee. Now let's come to the other point where it talks of lightning. And it says, the lightning, fickle in its affinities, move from one group of clouds to another. Right? So in a normal position, if a living entity is acting as a devotee, then he has all these qualities, or he is developing towards these qualities. But on the other hand, when the focus of a living entity is to satisfy the lusty desire in our heart, like how third chapter of Bhagavad Gita says, Kama Esha Krodha Esha. This is the real problem. Real problem is Kama Esha Krodha Esha, the lust which is there in the heart, which is transformed into pride. Right? So the lust, the desire to enjoy, the desire of selfish enjoyment. Right? So that is the problem. So when the living entities are not in connection with Krishna, are focused on our own selfish sense gratification, that's when the problem. So yesterday I was actually, because the verse talks so much of lightning, I was looking up like, I remember early in my school years we studied how lightning occurs. And it was like a very simple concept explained that, a little bit of science that, how in the clouds there's this positive charge and negative charge, and then the charges separate, and then there is this positive and negative charges are, attracted, and that's the light. And I just looked up, I was just, thinking of who can I use some more analogies like equality for and compare it to our philosophy. And I was just looking like, okay, how does lightning work? And I just found that one article in, it was like 2016, where it said, scientists are still trying to figure out how lightning actually occurs. And there's an article saying that, okay, we know the positive and negative charge, but why does that initially happen? And scientists are still trying to figure. So in 2016, that article had a whole description of why this happens, and they say like, oh, this will get us closer to solving the mystery of lightning. And I didn't know there's so much research going on to find out the cause of lightning. So maybe that's on the side note. So the point I was trying to make is, as soon as the living entity is focused on our own, we are focused on our own selfish sense gratification, then problems occur. Right? So, and like fifth chapter, page 22 says, as soon as we think of satisfying our senses, with sense object, that's the cause of misery. So coming back to the clouds and the lightning example, when the clouds are not doing their function of like, absorbing, giving the water, and when they are more focused on their own, I don't know how far we can take this analogy, but more focused on their own selfish gratification, then what happens is false ego. And when there's false ego, when there's collision, there's lightning. So immediately the root cause of all the problems and conflicts in this world is, and this, which is actually compared to lightning here. And the cause of the false ego is the desire to enjoy something. So that's what the verse is saying, that lightning is actually compared to lust. And Grihastha ashram, the regulation is there where, man, woman, they come together. There is this entire ashram where the focus is on Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada makes the point in the purport that he says the husband and wife should control their sex indulgence and concentrate their mind on Krishna consciousness so that their life may be successful. So if the focus is Krishna consciousness, then husband and wife live happily in the Grihastha ashram, and then they can further in their Krishna consciousness. But when the focus is lost and the focus is more on satisfying each other's lusty desire, satisfying their own lusty desire, of course there is so many problems and so on.